What's up, guys? Matt here with Matco Metalworks, and we're in the shop today. It is Saturday the 22nd, and here lately I haven't been working weekends just because we've been able to keep up, and things were a little slow the end of the year, which they tend to be just because most businesses are kind of closed and slowing down, resetting budgets and so forth. And I've got a big rail project. We've actually got to have it done and installed by next week, and I'm doing a video on that. So I've had a lot of people ask questions regarding angles and finding the mid-post angle, so forth. And so I'm gonna try to explain more in detail. It's about 120-foot rail, picket rail with pipe, and I'll try to explain a little bit more and give you a little bit of more detailed explanation, I guess, of how we build those. But what I want to show you today is another rush job that we've got to have at the galvanizing shop. Supposed to have it there yesterday, Friday, and unfortunately our steel supplier was not able to get us the steel on time. Logistics right now, supply chain, weather here in North Carolina, it's just been a mess. So we got them yesterday about lunchtime, 12 pieces of 6 by 3.5 by 5/16 angle. And unfortunately, thanks to an engineer, we have to trim them to 5.5 by 3. So you have a 6 by 3.5, 5/16. We have to trim 20 foot long on both sides of the angle, 1/2 inch. So we end up with a 5.5 by 3. So that's what you see behind me. We got, I've actually got 2 on the trailer. I'm gonna show you in a minute. We got a 1/2 inch of snow last night randomly, and they're covered. I'm gonna try to blow that off because what I'm trying to do is take them from here straight onto the trailer, and I'm by myself today, so it's a little tough. I had to do that last night. I stayed late working because, like I said, we've got rails to do. I've got to get this done on the trailer, ready to go Monday morning, and I'll be working on rails this afternoon and back in here tomorrow working on them. So a lot going on, but let's see if we can blow this trailer off and get the snow off. And then this angle that you see here, I've got 2 complete on the trailer with the studs on. What we're making is it's called it's angle embed, and I'll show you in a minute what it's for. It goes in concrete, used for dock doors, around dock doors, warehouses, stuff like that. And this particular one is for a pit. It's a 2 foot wide by 2 foot deep pit, like a drain pit. And this actually goes along the edges of the drain. So you've got basically 2 pieces running parallel. It's 120 foot long. And so they're 2 foot apart. The angle will set like that, and then a drain grate will set down in the angle. So you have the angle setting up like that, 5.5 by 3. I think that's what it is. 5.5 by 3, and the drain grate will sit down in it and probably be flush with the concrete. It should. We've done these before. I don't think I've ever trimmed angle like this. So normally it's just a 3 by 3 or 5 by 5 or 6 by 8 or whatever it is. Anyway, it's a hassle. I'll show you what I'm having to do. We mark them. We know what our offset is for our plasma, so we mark 1 inch, and then we take a piece of square tubing, set it on there, clamp it down with 5 clamps, and just run the plasma all the way down as straight as possible. It's not as easy as you think just to run a plasma straight like that. So you have to kind of keep an eye on it, make sure you're not tilting the gun, getting any angles, keep it as straight as you can. Then we come back with a grinder, just clean it up, and they'll go to galvanizing. It'll get covered with the galvanizing, and you'll probably never know it was even cut. So anyway, let's see if we can open this door and blow this trailer off. Nice. Look at that pretty snow. Came really quick, and it was only 1/2 inch. The roads are pretty much completely covered, and they're going to be a mess for the next few hours until we get some heat to warm them up, because the scraper's already come by doing absolutely nothing. So what I'm going to do is blow this off if it'll work. The air compressor just kicked on. I'll let that build up. But what I'm trying to do is just get that blown off so they're not wet, A. And then B, I can take my pieces from here once they're done, slide them right onto the trailer. I'll back it up just a little bit. The closer I can get it, the better. Like I said, I'm by myself. And don't have a crane, can't really get a forklift in here, so the best thing to do is just basically slide one in, catch it on the trailer, get the other in, and slide it all the way home. So I've got 12 of these to do, so you see what they look like when they're completely done. As you can see, they've got studs on them. These studs come in different sizes. This particular stud, it called for a 3/8 by 3 3/4. What we end up getting was 1/2 by 3 3/4. And there's two different ways you can apply these studs. We weld them on by hand, as you can see. There's also what's called a stud gun. These are known commonly as Nelson studs. They have a stud gun, which is a machine that basically is a big contraption. It's a gun. You slide this in the end. You have a round ring of flux. You put it on, pull the trigger, and it basically fuses right there, just like that. Same outcome. Whether or not, I haven't used those much, so whether or not they're quicker, I don't know. What I do know is just the cost I couldn't verify. We do quite a bit of this, but it's mainly for one company, and I couldn't justify buying one right now when we can weld them on just as quick. Like I said, we do quite a bit, but it would have to be a lot more in order to spend the money to get that. It takes a lot of power to run those things. I think most of them are 3-phase, which we have here at the shop, but like I said, it just wasn't worth it for us, because it literally, it didn't take long. The longest part of this is cutting these angles. As you can see, this one's been cut. So this finished product here was 5 by 6 by 3.5, is now 5.5 by 3. So that's what they look like. We got 2 done, got 10 more to do. We've already got 4 trimmed, got 6 more to trim, and then 10 to put studs on. So I'll probably do them a little bit at a time, get them trimmed, and then put a couple studs on, slide them on the trailer, and that way get them out of the way and get this area cleaned up. So let's go. Of PPE on. The thing about plasma, it makes a lot of sparks and a lot of smoke. I'll actually have to open the door here in a minute to let the smoke out, but it's a little chilly outside. It's like 20 some degrees today, so a little too cold. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark my 1 inch tape measure and a Sharpie, and what I'm going to do is mark that 1 inch, because I know that I need 1/2 inch to cut off, and then 1/2 inch to be the center of the plasma torch is my offset. So that 1/2 and 1/2 gives me 1. Therefore I'm going to mark 1 with my little crow's foot. Crow's foot is just a tick mark, like a little arrow. Mark about, 6 or 8 places down. That way you make sure you can line your tube up. And what I've got, this angle unfortunately is not perfectly straight. It's got a little bit of a bow in it, which is not uncommon. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to use a piece of 1.5 inch 16 gauge to clamp on it. Therefore, it's going to bow with the material instead of being solid and rigid. Got a little bit of a bow to it.
You also want to make sure when you clamp it not to get your foot of your clamp in your cutting zone and whack it off with the plasma. It'd be bad because these clamps, like anything else, are not exactly cheap. Good ones are actually pretty pricey. So what I'm doing is just going down and working my way from one end. These I can swivel while I'm cutting. And then the big C clamp I'll put them from the back side. Like I said, make sure you're not putting your foot in the cutting zone. Find my crow's foot there. And then find the lost clamp. Always one. Oh, found it. Shop is a mess. Plasma cutting just makes a horrible mess. Too cold to do it outside. So we've got the Hypertherm Power Max 65 with a hand torch here that you see. I can control the trigger. Go. Hook up the ground and a little bit of air and you're ready to rock. We also have a Hypertherm 85, Power Max 85, that's on the plasma table behind you there. And that stays hooked up to that. We do have a torch. Good thing about Hypertherm is kind of a plug and play, so you can unplug this and hook up a machine torch. So we do use that from time to time, but we've got this one, the 65 does pretty much everything we need to, handheld in the shop. Leave the 85 on that. By the time I get done, this thing will be solid black. If you don't have cool goggles, I believe I've got these attractive supply. What I'm gonna do is put that there. I don't have a ground. And here we go. Just like welding, you want to be comfortable. So find a position where you're comfortable to make long pulls. The longer you can pull, the straighter you'll be. too awful bad. Not too bad. It's pretty dang straight. Like I said, you have to kind of go back and forth a couple times, as you saw me do, because I was just may started pulling a little too fast or something or whatever. But knock that off with a grinding wheel, and we'll be good to go. So now you went from 6 to 5.5 on that leg. Got to go from 3.5 to 3 on this leg. So we'll do the same thing. We'll mark 1 inch, clamp this on there, just like that, and then we'll run down, and that'll be it. We'll hit it with a grinding wheel, flip it over on to these other ones, leaves us 5 more to cut. I'm back in the shop. It is Sunday morning, the 23rd. Yesterday you saw plasma cutting. It made an absolute mess. The shop is a disaster. I've never cut that much with a plasma. We cut plasma a lot, cutting stringers. We got a plasma table, but it's got a water bed on it, so it soaks up. Plus we're right next to the door, but the water soaks up most of the smoke and the sparks and all that stuff. It's a wreck in here. Like it's gonna take a pretty good while to clean all that. I'm about to blow everything off. It's just covered in dust. I did wear a mask and goggles and all that stuff. Had the door open, so tried not to breathe any of that stuff, but it made a mess. Anyway, as you can see, we've got 8 on the trailer completely done with the studs on. These 4 have already been cut, and all we've got to do now, I've already got these laid out. Start at 6 inches and go 12 inches on center all the way down. Like I said, 2 at a time, so I don't have to mark this one. I just lay 2 in here, and I'll come back, tack them all on, and then weld them up. Spray them with some anti-spatter just to keep some of that spatter from sticking and making a mess, and we should be good to go. Get these done, probably take an hour or so, get them on the trailer, and then we'll get started on some handrails. So let's go. All right, guys, that's it for this. I have to do for this because I'm gonna try and record when I take it to the galvanized shop first thing Monday morning. I'm hoping to be sitting there when they open the door because we've got rails we got to get done. I'm out of breath because those things are heavy. That's 240 feet. That's 12 pieces, 20 foot long, 240 feet, 240 studs, 240 feet of plasma cutting that destroyed our shop. And like I said, I'll have to do a second episode because that's it. That is done. And what you see here is the aftermath of all the crap. I've swept a little bit. This is just all the dust and the stuff that comes from plasma cutting. Like I said, this is where I wear a mask. It's a mess. The shop, as you can see, the floor is never this dusty. I would cut outside, but it was way too cold yesterday when I was doing all that. It was like, I don't know, 17 degrees, 20 degrees yesterday morning. Got up to mid 30s, but just too cold to be out there all day doing that crap. And it literally took all day on and off with welding. So we did weld some of the studs on, and the bad part about this stuff was the supply chain issues and just employment issues, period. We ordered this stuff. It was a rush job. We were supposed to have it Thursday, and we were supposed to do these, get them done and have them to galvanizing Friday. And unfortunately, we didn't get the material. Supposedly a truck didn't run or something. We didn't get the material until Friday around lunch. It was supposed to be here Friday morning. And then when we got it, we started measuring, and they were supposed to be 20-foot pieces. Well, we got 12 pieces. 9 of them are 230. Just like that.